and we're looking at the back end. The growth is very healthy and retention is great. So I think Jerry is very pleased on this.
So when you say retention, have we got a list of numbers of how many we've had testing in the first 5 days of the open beta?
Maybe Jerry have that, have the stats, but or just a very brief one. We have about over 2,000 people playing, and pretty much people log on almost every day. So we see that result, and we think this is on the great track. This is on the good track.
Yeah, did you want to touch on that one a little bit more, Jerry?
Yes, more stats. We have people coming from over 77 countries, and which is pretty awesome. And also, the average people stay in the app is over 30 minutes. So which means, yeah, I don't know why it's over 30 minutes, but I think it should be roughly between 10 to 20, but actually it's over 30 minutes. I think people are curious about the app, and even without energy, they're still running or study the app, which is very good.
Yeah, so for people that want a little bit of why Jerry would be curious on that number, is if you have a set of common sneakers and you get 2.0 energy per day, that's 10 minutes effectively. 10 minutes you've done your daily run. So for people to be on for 20 to 30 minutes, that's 2 to 3 times the standard time. That means you're clicking in, you're having a look, has my energy respawned? So energy respawns at 25% every 6 hours. So you can do walks. But I would definitely agree with that. I've spent more than the average person on the app looking at things and testing and playing and mucking around. It's definitely a lot different than our closed beta. So do we want to talk over some of the differences of how you've done the stats in this edition? Who wants to tackle that one, Jorn or Jerry? Because obviously we've got the 4 stats and they are a little bit different how they are in this version.
Yes. So we will run continuing improvement on the stats. So by stats you mean the attribute, right?
Yeah. So efficiency,
Yeah,
luck,
yeah,
comfortability, resilience, the attributes. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. So there will be some improvement rolling out in the next patch update to make the higher quality stats more significant. Currently, we believe there's not enough the distinction between the gray, which is the uncommon, which is common, and the green, which is the uncommon. So we're gonna address this in the next patch. As for the stats goals, we are actually going on monitoring on the backend to see how each people perform, and also we're testing a few sneakers ourselves to see if all these stats are set up in a way that is reasonable. So we're probably gonna do some minor adjustments down the track, but overall their function are the same compared to the private beta, and we are actually talking internally a few points of how we can actually improve the user experience without introducing too much. We probably want to do it more of an incremental introduction on the new sort of buff and debuff sort of setup especially for the comfortability.
Yeah. So comfortability. Are the buffs active at the moment?
Not yet. We are still designing that, and we'll roll it out once we bottle test it. Because
Yeah. So
the buff and debuff will be a tricky thing that people will say, "Oh, when there's buff, but they dislike it when they receive a debuff." So we have to make a good balance on this.
so definitely the efficiency does seem very similar to the original. Comfortability is that little bit different because obviously there's no buff. So right now we don't really want to be putting points in there. But what about luck? How has luck changed in the open beta?
Is We haven't touched luck much in the previous version. So the mystery box is wholly dependent on the luck, but now it also depends on how the distance player traveled in one single, say, running or walking session. If they have walked, say, long enough, they have a higher possibility to get a mystery box on top of the luck value. So now the mystery box drop rate depends on the distance traveled plus the luck value.
Yeah, it's just I know from personal testing that it's slightly different, and it can be you might not get them for days at a time. So it has been curious for me on that one.
Yeah, so we basically nerf that drop rate a little bit, so we can give more sort of value to the gems. I don't want to the gems they suddenly inflate the market. So there will be a the gem will be sort of a rare item, so people don't get that often.
Yeah, the gem system does seem a whole lot different at the moment. So obviously it's 10 GST to install. Oh, sorry, to open a gem slot on a common set of boots, and 20 GST to do it on the uncommon. So did the team think long and hard before the stats, because that was quite a heavy change from the original one?
Well, yeah, we because the original one we pretty much rushed the process. There's not much thought being put on, so lots of numbers are not well thought of. But now, as we have some time to think about how this will be balanced in a real in-game economy, so we are being more cautious on what number we put in to open or remove gems in a socket.
I'd like to welcome to stage Gilgamesh. How are you going this evening, Gilgamesh?
Hello there. Hello everyone. Yeah, pretty good.
Gilgamesh, this is your first time at the AMA, the weekly AMA, I should say, talking on stage. Would you like to introduce yourself to stage and just talk about who you are at STEP?
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone. I'm your resident moderator. I'm the one who takes care of banning people. Is probably what most people know me as, know me for. I also try and answer questions in your tickets, and I also take care of the general and most of the other channels together with the rest of the team. I work with the community managers and the intern helpers to make sure nobody's questions go unanswered. And if anyone needs help, generally you should be tagging me. Please do not tag Jerry. Do not tag Yon. Do not tag Barndog. I'm actually just here to help. So yeah.
So is that a specific, sorry, just so people know they can either tag you directly, or what was the actual role as well?
Yeah, sure. So ideally, if there's someone who has a pressing question, ideally we would ask you to submit a ticket so we can help out. This way, your chat doesn't get lost
Moderator.
in the general channel. You know how when it's busy, everything just scrolls up, and questions, good questions, just fall through the cracks because nobody could see them when the general is scrolling up fast. So when you submit a ticket, that's me and my team taking care of your questions, focusing on you while the ticket is open. And generally, uh, I don't know what else this. Oh, okay. So I also try and maintain the rules for maintain and enforce the rules that are currently in effect for the meme channel, for the Twitter channel. I try and get them updated as the team communicates them to us. Um, and generally, it's just maintaining and the general upkeep of the channel.
No, you do an awesome job, Gilgamesh. It is awesome to see. So you can always tag Gilgamesh, or I would assume moderators as well. But please just be careful not answering the standard questions. Always have a look at the fact channels, or the announcements channels. A lot of your simple things are answered there. There is also plenty of videos as well to be able to go out and have a look. I did link a video. There was an Indian gentleman. I'd have to go and double check my own video to find it, but did a good video on how to install on an Apple. I personally have an Android, and I didn't realize it was a lot difficult. You had to download one app to be able to then download the STEPN app. So there is a process. Normally the questions are easy to find.
Yeah, yeah. But if anything, because we did notice people were having a lot of issues trying to download and install and even to run the app, get their wallet up and running. My advice is always ask in either the general channel or please raise a ticket, there's always someone here to answer you. Even if nobody answers you immediately, especially if you have a ticket, as long as the ticket is open, someone will see it. I will see it, and then we'll take care of that. So if you just need guidance, we're here to guide you through it.
And on a personal note, Gilgamesh, how are those trainers treating you? Have you been using those?
I've never gotten a trainer. I just have a walker, and because I'm like a really I have a really slow ass, and I 3 kilometers per hour is asking too much. So yeah, I just have a walker, but my walker is great. I love it. I will not sell it if my life depended on it. So yeah, I love my walker.
Oh, I thought that was a trainer. Sorry, my bad.
Oh no, sneaker my baby sneaker 00001 is actually it's actually a jogger. I could not for the life of me use it because it requires 5 kilometers per hour.
You'll
I couldn't move that fast.
you'll
So
find
yeah.
that's a quick walk. You'll actually if you track it in there, getting between 5 and 9 kilometers is a quick walk.
No, for other people, yes. Probably for me, because maybe I'm short. My steps are little steps. I cannot use it economically. I would only earn like 30 cents, 30 point 30 GST when I'm wearing that. So I'm sorry. I'm just leveling up my baby. I'm not even just able to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they still add more energy, of course, which is good for the day. But this will be a video I do next is how to tackle what sneakers you have. And it doesn't mean that if you've got runners where they go between 9 and 15 k's an hour, of course you can go at a lower speed and still earn. You're just not going to be making that maximum efficiency.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to actually mention this now that you've touched on that. A lot of people were complaining that they weren't getting GST even though they were moving, they had GPS, they were wearing their shoes. For everyone who's listening, please note, you need to be in the green zone for your sneaker, no matter if it's a walker, a jogger, a runner. If you're outside of the green zone, like 50% more or less than the green zone requirement, you are not going to earn
Ooh.
GST. I did full troubleshooting with this with one of our intern helpers, and he wasn't earning GST. And it turns out it's because it's a combination of the app not detecting the GPS, and because he's like running 14 kilometers per hour on a jogger that requires 5 to 9 kilometers per hour.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's zero GST. Please move within the optimal speed required by your sneaker so you could earn the best amount of GST. So just wanted to insert that. Yeah.
So on the moving as well, we've seen moonwalking has been a major problem since the open beta. How are we looking at that, gentlemen? And Gilga, sorry if you've got an answer for that, Gilgamesh.
No, no, anything that's technical, I leave it to Jerry and Yon.
With the moonwalking, mainly is caused by weak GPS signals, or is caused by where player are under like a roof, where either crazy like a GPS drifting happened. The system will say, all right, this is moonwalking time. I personally test the app every day, and just my personal experience, so I probably was stuck in moonwalking about 3 to 5 seconds after I walk outside my house, and then it will be just normal walking. And this is my experience today. So I would assume that people with moonwalking probably are at where the GPS will either degrade a lot or drift a lot, or like bounce a lot in either a high sort of in the city center, or under the roof, or let's say in a remote area. I can't speak for sure that if people are outside these areas still have the moonwalking issue, but we actually have a chat with staff team today, and they look into this.
Yeah, I've noticed it did jump around in the forest. I'm in Cairns, Australia, and it's lots of trees and stuff like that, and it can struggle. But also the S8 Samsung phone didn't seem to be as good as the S20, so I would assume that would be what you're saying then with a weaker GPS.
Mm. Yeah, we've seen the same issue with a lot of GPS trackers, and we are still trying to figure out a way of how to reduce the moonwalking stats.
We have got quite a few questions in stage. I'll go through those very shortly. There's a couple of other questions I had to touch on as well. Sometimes we're seeing sneakers when you're sending either sneakers or GST from wallets. It's actually failing and not managing to send. Is that just a bug we're trying to work on at the moment?
Is the issue with?
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to talk about? You can talk about.
Yeah, we just originally did 2 updates in the past week, and I think we've fixed it, and you should have the same. You should have this issue in the future. But if you have one, just report to me, and we will investigate in it, and we'll make it better. This is the first time we do the Solana wallet. We haven't any experience before.
Yep.
But that was the issue, and at the very beginning, people it takes about 1 to 3 hours to finish the transfer.
Yeah.
But now it should be under 10 minutes between wallets and the votes, but between your different wallets should be under 1 minute. If it failed, you can just kill the app and send again.
Yeah.
Should not happen again. But let me know if you meet the same problem.
Yeah, that was really good. So don't forget, people. There's actually on your main screen, you've still got a feedback. I think is it called feedback? Feedback.
Yeah,
There is a feedback little option. You can click on that, report any. It's still in beta. This is important to, just because it's an open beta doesn't mean they're still not actually testing the product, and we need to get these bugs. I did notice that was 2 upgrades ago, Joe. That was good. Activation codes. So for people to be able to still play the game, they're still needing these activation codes. And I know there's an inbuilt function in game which will come about at some stage. But do you want to just touch on quickly how people can join the open beta if they want to buy an NFT off the Magic Eden? How do they go about getting the activation code going forward?
Okay, so the purpose that we are limiting the activation code and we are not open the activation code function in the game is because we are still testing the app. We don't want people just join. We don't control, just the control number of people play the game so that we can test the functions, we can fix the bugs and get all the number right. And we actually have some roadblocks for people. They have to try extra hard to actually play the game. So really, if people wanted to play and they can buy a pair of sneakers on the Magic Eden, and then I believe CMs and Jared and Jason and I will pass on activation code if they have a pair of sneakers. I think once we are comfortable with how the game plays and having more of an open sort of economy. By open economy, I mean everything can happen within the app without people going to say Magic Eden or Radium to sell their or buy their sneakers or sell their tokens. And then we'll be more open so people can actually use their activation code generator in the game to generate activation code for their friends and families. But at current stage, we are still doing that manually so that we are limiting the people playing.
Yeah, that's
another thing. Sorry.
You go.
Another thing I want to say is, if you already own the sneaker and join the game, congratulations, because you are the early birds and you can make good earnings now. And because now we are oversupplying the energies, we will make a new update next week and limit the energy and reduce the energy supply. And so if you haven't join us now.
Yeah, super important news there. We've got a lot of questions in crowd, so I'll filter a couple in now. There's one question here regarding if someone has a second phone and they buy a second NFT, they can hold both phones and earn twice as much. Is that going to be taken out of the game?
We will take that out of the game. The anti-cheating mechanism will be rolled out in different places.
Sorry, can't hear you very clear. Sorry, can't hear you very clear.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
If it was my dog. So we will roll out the anti-cheating mechanism in several phases. And this is phase 1. So we can detect people riding scooters and bikes and things like that. And in the future patch, we will upgrade the anti-cheating mechanism to detect, say, you put the phones on animals, you carry multiple phones. And we are looking to that around January. So we will eventually take that out of the system. And again, going back to the previous question, which is also the reason that we are limiting people playing, because we don't want people exploiting the system. And yeah, so that issue will soon be taken out of the game very soon in the next few patches.
That's awesome. Next question we had here was from Nishant. Hello, I'm a user who can't afford STEPN NFT. He's got a season 2 reward, so he's obviously been in answered questions. He's asking about can he get something from the app? Obviously not buying the NFT, so that's going to be more on the renting a set of sneakers. Do we have a rough timeline on that, just for the people that can't afford to buy one of the NFTs at current state?
Yes. So once renting is open, people can start to earn by renting a pair of sneakers. But we are actually reprioritizing our task. So the top prioritized task is we have to have the swap function built in. So the whole team is working on that. And then we'll be completing the anti-cheating mechanisms. And then we do the leaderboard plus the marketplace and the rental system. And further, in February, we're looking at the wearables and then the background mode. So eventually, I think in February, they will be able to do that, but not at current stage. Because once you enable the renting, you are actually trying to optimize the use of all the sneakers the player have. And that will actually put more pressure on the economy, which means we have to have a much robust or like a much bigger economy when we are releasing this, the rental system. And that require to reduce the entry barriers for people. So in the end, so for one, we want to make everything happen within the app without going to a third party. That's number one. And then we'll remove all the barriers so people can come in. And then we will enable the rental system. Because that actually makes logical sense. We cannot do that early because what's the point if people can't, you have difficulty joining and then they're still renting? It doesn't make sense.
Yep, no, that's perfect. So onwards, possibly Q1, maybe towards the end of Q1. That's a great answer. There is one here regarding we've still got some of the sneaker boxes coming on the auction house that are under the numbers 5,000 between those first 10,000 numbers. So should we be wary of those? Are the ones that were worn out, so they had 48 hours to use, are they completely gone? Do those NFTs destroyed, or are they still saleable on Magic Eden?
Do you mean that when we say that it will expire on the 22nd of December? Is that what you mean in the question?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, I think the team has fixed that. Jared, we fixed that, right?
Yeah, no issues.
Yeah.
Any NFTs, sneakers, shoeboxes you can buy from Magic Eden will be available to use in the app. So no worries, you can buy.
It's sort of a last minute fix. I think I was answering questions about 8 hours before the expiry, and the team is still working on it.
Perfect. No, that's good. That is super good information. So for people there, you can be buying the first 10,000 numbers, and they'll be perfect. All right, there was another one here. Actually, even this is a personal question here. Liquidity. So the liquidity was quite thin on Radium. And for people that are choosing to go about minting, upgrading sneakers, all those kinds of things, obviously it's quite an expensive experience at the moment. So for people, I've put some of this in the elite chat, because to mint a set of sneakers, you're looking at 200 to mint 2 commons, and when you add uncommon sneakers, you're adding in an additional 100 per GST per uncommon sneaker. So when is there a possibility, are we just going to stay low liquidity at the moment, or is there a potential chance that may be increased anytime soon?
We are using Radium to have a thin liquidity because we are actually working on our own swap. to build in within the app. So we actually leave it there so that once we have built our own, the experience will be much better. And we actually will make the liquidity more liquidities with our own sort of order book. So yeah, I think we're gonna roll out that part in January next year. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have our own swap, and then people can actually buy and sell their token in the app, and that is going to be much better than the reading.
So is that going to be linked up with something like Mercurial or Jupiter or something like that?
We are using Orca.
And on the minting, while I'm going through some of those questions, so on the minting, how have you guys, has the team experienced their own minting? How have you found that to be so far?
I think it's good. Because we have tried different strategies. Either the minting entire process will take 48 hours, or we say we'll make it instant because, the reference with Axie Infinity is that I think when they actually having the breeding, they have to wait. They have to wait for it to hatch, to breed into the babies. But it doesn't apply in a sneaker. There's no baby sneaker and there's no breeding in sneaker. It sounds weird. So say this would be just like a factory. You make the sneaker, you open it right away, and this is the way we use we put in the game, that we put the cooldown after the breed, and the vintage sneaker will not be able to breed either in their own account, or if you send it to other person, they still wouldn't be able to breed. So we limit that to 40 hours across the board. So I think it's a better experience. People, when they mint, they actually want to see what they actually mint and open that sticker box. So to make it instant, I think people can have that instant gratifications of what they make, and then they worry about they're unable to breed next time for 40 hours. I think they can cope that.
Yeah, so is that you've come off the Axie system a fair bit, then you've used a lot of the information from that system to copy and use for STEP?
No. What I mean is that with the Axie, it makes sense when the breed was taking like 72 hours, because when you're actually breeding something, you actually take time for it to grow in the womb, and then you breed them, and then they hatch.
Yep.
It's a natural process. But we cannot use the same analogy in our game, because the sneaker is not a living organism. There's no real breed, right? So you have to you send this to sneaker into a factory, and then you receive a sneaker box. You open it right away. That's how it works. So we borrow the concept, but we design our own sort of theory or logic in our own game. Yeah,
it's definitely nice being able to open those boxes straight away, even if you do get commons. But it is a cool little system. So for people that don't understand the breeding system, it's super important. I'll remind everyone all the time, make sure you check the white paper. All of the information is there in the white paper. If you mint 2 commons together, you get a common shoebox, but there's a 10% chance when you open that at getting an uncommon set of sneakers. But if you mint an uncommon shoebox, there's a 30% chance at getting common sneakers. So you need to be careful how much you're spending. At the moment, it's very low liquidity. These are why I'm asking these questions to put it out to the crowd, because at the moment it's costing you something like $600+ to mint a pair of an uncommon sneaker box. So it's quite expensive. So if you're not in there, there's super great earnings from the game. You can be trading that out on Radium and earning some really good money from the game at the start. So, STEPN donated most of these boxes to people in the pub to grow our community, and it's super awesome.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Barndog, you paid a lot to get that knowledge, right?
Yeah, I've spent the better part of, let's say, around 40 Solana would be my guess.
Yeah, over 1,000 to mint a new green box and open it, and you get a gray sneakers, right?
It is, and like I've opened up 4 uncommon sneaker boxes and had 2 commons and 2 uncommons, and it's super cool how you open that sneaker box and the first thing you see is the statistics, because then you know what statistics are, and you think, holy shit, that's either a high common or it's a low uncommon. So you've got that heartfelt moment. I think how you guys have done that is actually pretty cool. Like, it is a good minting experience. I'm doing a mint video. I'll go for my third mint, and I'll put that up next week. But yeah, I'll go for a third mint in 2 days. So I think for people, if you need to ask questions, by all means, tag Gilgamesh. I'm not sure how much experience she's had with that, but I've had a lot of minting experience. I'm happy to put my suggestions forward or that. But at the moment, the floor price is still under 3 Solana. So if you're minting 2 commons together, you've got to have them both in your wallet, or you've got to borrow them from someone. But, 200 GST is the better part of $400. So you might... It's risky. Otherwise, you're getting much more energy at the moment, and you're earning very good money just by trading out. So there's so many different strategies to do in it, and maybe you're trying to work towards those elusive blue sneakers being the rares. So have we seen any rares in the public popping out? Anyone from the team?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I only have my gray, so all my sneakers gray. I'm hopeless.
Yeah, I wish you can get blue shoebox next time.
It's super. It's funny when you think about the NFT flip market has been there for these generative NFTs, and people are going for the rares. It's actually a very similar model when you think about it, because there's a 30, opening an uncommon shoebox, there's a 30% chance at common, 60% uncommon, and then 10% rare. So it's just one of those things, like eventually the liquidity is going to come in, and it will have more players joining in, more people earning, and the the burning off the GST coins is still going to be there. But at the moment, one of your best strategies, and I'll put this forward, one of the best strategies is leveling up your boots. This is something the team wants you guys to do, is they want you to play. They want you to play every day, level up your boots. You're getting 4 stat points every time you level up. That was very different than the closed beta. So you're very quickly being able to level your boots up, and they're rewarding the players that are playing the game, and that's super cool.
Yeah, and once your sneaker is over 10 level, you can, and once the rental market is open, you can lend your sneaker to others, which is super cool.
Yeah, and for that, that's level 10 to get your sneakers up to, and it's only costing you 1 GST to go to level 1, 2 GST to go to level 2. Even with the hours, they don't take a long time. So getting your sneakers up, you can get them to level 5 very, very easy. Getting them to level 10 is not super hard, and you get more money every time you're playing the game. So it is super cool. And when you're doing the rental system, it's not going to cost you to list, I don't believe, and it's not going to cost you to actually rent the sneakers. So it's going to be a good method.
Yeah, then you'll get, passive income every day.
All right, so I do have one question here. What do you mean by oversupplying of energy? This will be directed at you, I guess, Jerry. I actually feel energy is so limited now. One shoe 2.0 energy
really?
is 10 minutes, and they're just going there asking on that. So there was a little bit of that answer to what you said before. Did you want to say anything on that?
The only thing I can say is some people just buy 5, 6 sneakers from the marketplace, and they get over 10 energies, and they can't move that long. Actually, they just waste the energy. And the reason we give so many energies, just we want to test how our users will play the game, and now just give enough energies to all of them. And if you want to run, you can run as much as you want. But actually, in the official version, we won't give that much energies, because people don't need that much. And we will also, the energy is the key to control the economy system. And but more details you will find in the next major update.
Yeah, and I guess you can elaborate on that more. You can always save 200 GST and mint. This is the thing. Or you could buy an NFT off the auction house. That gives you more. You could mint and then sell the one that you mint to recoup some of the cost that you've bought this floor NFT off. So if you buy a second floor NFT, it doesn't matter what stats are on it. It doesn't matter whether it's whether it's a walker, trainer, runner. It doesn't matter. It'll always give you more energy, and then your energy regrowth is increased as well.
Yeah, I want to address that for like a ordinary video game, what people want to do is they want to rush it, and get to the end boss, kill the end boss, finish achievement, and then move on. With STEPN, we don't want to design that way that people just rush in, right? I want to get the legendary sneaker, I want to have the top quality, this and that. They work really hard for maybe 6 months, achieve that, and move on. This is a lifelong, we believe this could be a lifelong app, and people probably will grind for years to get the legendary sneakers. But along that way, they will actually get better health. They can make pretty good money. So there's no rush in this game, and so in a way that we actually slow the pace for people to leveling, to upgrading, and stuff, and then get involved in social, get involved in achievements. So that's all the features we want to introduce in the game. That this will be a very slow paced game. I want people to rush it and say, "Oh, I got to the level 30, that's it." That's not what we intended to do, and that's not what we wanted to design the game to be, where people rush to the end level and then that's it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely work on that way. I mean, we've got a hard cap of level 28, haven't we? There is a question here at the moment which could maybe answer that point I just mentioned. Is there a possibility of getting a shoebox through a mystery drop box? So I've only seen a level 3 box myself, and you get GST and potentially level 2 gems. But can you get other NFTs, shoes through a mystery box?
Not at the moment. The mystery box is mainly serve as a purpose to give people surprise reward and gems, in a way to distribute gems. NFT sneaker, I believe that would be something people work to get, not just accidentally receive it. Because again, people work and they get rewarded by NFT sneakers. I think that's sensible, but if stickers happen to be airdropped to them in a way of form of, like, say, mystery box, doesn't really, I think, even they receive it, they're probably gonna sell it. They don't appreciate it probably. So yeah, I don't think we will put in that feature.
That's a good answer. And can we get GMT at the moment from mystery boxes, or is that locked out until next year once we go through IDOs?
Yeah, so it's a very strict policy with changes that you will not allow to have any governance token in circulation. If we did that, we will be sort of disqualified for IEO, so we will not take that risk. So all the GMT distribution will be after the listing of the token.
Yeah, so that's two good answers there. At the moment, all you can get from your loot boxes, by the sounds of it, is GST and your gems.
Yep.
Can I get STEPN applications? Can I get a STEPN application code by doing tasks? Is the question another one?
Application code, you mean the activation code? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we just answer that one again.
But yeah, I mean, if the player doesn't have a sticker, it doesn't make sense for them to have an activation code. They still couldn't move around in the game. So if they buy a pair of sneakers, we'll give them an activation code.
Oh, there was a question. I know STEPN's boys put this down twice now. Would you consider implementing different renting systems? So direct renting in the future and customizable renting profit share instead of the auto matching system that we have set up for STEPN? Yeah,
initially we actually have a internal debate on if we do very complicated rental system, but again, it will probably only work for people that very sort of hardcore. And for average people, they rather to rent it, because in the end, what we picture is when people have, like, say, over 20 pair of sneakers, and they have to go through the customization process for every pair of sneakers, that's going to take a long time. So we think the convenience will be more important in this sense. But there will be customizations once we have a group of educated players. It wouldn't really make sense at the current stage where some of them don't even bother to read the white paper. So if you have very complicated way to rent the sneaker out, they will get even further confused. And once people are educated, once they are comfortable with the automated rental system, after a while, we will be in a position to release more of a customizable rental system.
And is that something that might go through a governance vote, or?
Nah, I don't see really we need that, because when we talk about customizable rental, it will put further emphasis on the market oriented economy. For example, if there's so many sneakers on the market, of course the people leasing the sneaker out wanted to adjust, say, all right, I'm not doing 30/70, I probably are okay with 40/60. So when the market condition change, I want people to reflect on that. Let's say if there's a strong demand for sneakers, um, the sneaker owner probably can say, right, 20/80, right? So I want that entire thing to be market driven, not set in a certain fixed percentage, because that will sometimes deviate from how market behaves. So eventually we actually wanted to put a customizable rental system, but only when there's a group of educated player that are familiarized with the entire game system.
All right, next question here, still by STEPN Boy. I kind of know the answer to this, but how will rarity of greater than common and uncommon shoe boxes be minted? So, for example, legendary shoes. Are there going to be any sales? So we know that you're going to be able to mint them eventually, because there's a 10% chance of getting a rare from an uncommon shoe box, but are there going to be any additional sales potentially?
No, we only gonna make sales when there is a great imbalance on the market. So let's say if there's 10,000 players but only 1,000 sneakers, then we say, all right, we're probably gonna drop 2,000 sneakers into the market, just balance out the market a little bit. But we will not release like legendary or epic, even rares to the market, because once we do that, you see what happened with World of Warcraft when everybody have a legendary, right?
Yeah.
It become worth it.
Everyone's got a
Right?
Thunder
Especially
Fury
kind of
these
fire.
days.
Yeah, no, not gonna do that.
There was also, I think I've just lost where my questions were, but there was another one asking about the, lost the question. Where did it go? Sorry, apologies. The valueless for the speakers after the 22nd of December. So just remember, people, that the 48 hours to open your shoe boxes, that has been removed now. So the numbers that are on Magic Eden that are under 10,000, they'll be safe to use.
Because we actually witnessed the sort of issue with our friend Pet of their crack eggs, and when people are still buying the unhatchable eggs.
Yeah, they were selling it for 12 Solana, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's good when people say, "Oh, it's collectible," but again, it's a game, right? The game items will serve a function. It's not a like an avatar sort of thing that people can say, right, I have this NFT avatar, I can just wear it as my FPF on the Twitter. But it's different things. People buy items, you serve a purpose. And I'm actually quite pleased that we fixed that, so people can, because it will create confusions and people will say, is this gonna have the sneaker out of the box or not out of the box, right? So in a game, the least thing I want is a confusion. So I'm happy that we fixed that. So all the sneakers box will have no time limit. They can open anytime, and they'll have a sticker in it.
There is another question here about how do we bring other people into the game that don't use Discord. So Rao 870, that's just yours. There will be eventually an invite function coming from the game when you start running yourself over certain distances. The team will bring that in.
And also we will actually also gonna build two concurrent sort of social system. One will have them in building the game, And the other is we will open up a Telegram channel very soon. So once probably we do the second major update plus the investor announcement, we'll have the Telegram group open. So not the hardcore sort of a gaming community can still participate. Because really, for people don't really familiar with the Discord, for them to get into the Discord server is sort of a huge task.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. There's still so many people don't use the Discord, but there are plenty of options there.
Yeah, so we will start into adapting Telegram next month.
Sorry, I'm just trying to go through the questions. There's a whole lot of extra chatter in the channel. Will STEPN add multi-language? So is there going to be an option to add Chinese or other languages?
That will happen, I think, Q2, because we still have a lot of tasks. I think the app is sort of intuitive now for people with sort of minimum English requirement can still navigate, to my belief. So the multi-language will be sort of a lower priority for us, but eventually we'll get there. So once we have scaled in our team number and then we have people that can do professional translations, we will look into this, but definitely not in the top priority.
There is a good one here from Jerry 1997. I mean, it's not really asking a question. Well, it is, but why are you not thinking about a launch for a smart band? Jerry, we've talked about this a few times. The teams are considering using smart devices eventually, but to get their MVP out, they just couldn't put it in.
Yeah. Well, we'll work it out in the future.
I also want to further iterate. The reason that we pushed this before the Christmas and to have MVP out is because we want to be on the IEO on the February. Then we can actually present the game data to exchanges. Say, right, this is the game. You know, we've been doing great. So now it's open. You know, we battle tested. Now it's open beta, so people can try it. They can even try it. So it's really for us to be listed on exchanges in Q1, on multiple exchanges in Q1. So if we want to just have everything done ready, we rather do that around late January. But then if we do that at January, we probably won't be listed on exchange in Q1 next year.
A question on deflation. At the moment, obviously, we've got higher earnings, we've got higher energy by the sounds of it. So has the team got any figures on how much of the coin being earned is being spent and burnt? So is there percentages on that?
I've seen a very rough ratio, and it's different on daily basis. I think for the past few days, the demand is always greater than supply. So effectively, what it means is people burn more than what people make.
Yeah. There are a lot of basic questions. We are going to need to put a slow. Oh, it is enabled. Can we have in real life shoes by holding a STEPN NFT? Any replicas happening?
We are talking to one sneaker brand and for potential partnerships, and ultimately, I think we wanted to bridge in between the virtual and sneaker and the real world. So effectively, we actually are considering put a NFT sneaker replica in the real life, but and that's only when we are achieving great user numbers and we have a great user basis. I actually wanted to pay for it. So because when we talk about doing physical production of sneakers, there has to be the number of thousands, tens of thousands. So yeah, so that would be sort of the end game for us.
So that's from Heron. Gilgamesh actually did ask as well to link that out. Let's consider wrapping it up. We've come very close to our hour now. We've got a lot of things coming up in the next week. Do we want to talk about those, Jon?
Yeah, so we will continue to run patch update, and we are aiming for 10th of January for the investors announcement. I'm still chasing up a few investors to close on my end. So again, Christmas time is hard to pin them, but we are aiming around the 10th. After do the investor announcement, we'll open the Telegram channel. We'll have a separate team to manage the Telegram, and also we'll start to use Reddit for lots of curations, QAs or questions. We're starting to put on the Reddit. We also have a separate team for Reddit management. Yeah, so it's just the time that we were pushing things really quickly, but now with New Year Eve, I assume that we're going to be back on full speed around after the 1st of January. So the next week will still be a little bit slow on, let's say, the partnerships on exchanges, but we will still be full speed on the patch update and also building the swap.
That was the swap you talked about earlier, where you can swap in game.
Yeah. So I see that will be a very important function because for NFT trading, people just buy it once or twice, right? But with a token, they probably want to do it multiple times, buy and sell on a daily basis. So that is a very important function we want to introduce as soon as possible.
And Jerry, have you got anything to mention over the next week that'll be coming up?
Next week, we are aiming to launch the in-app swap, so you can sell your GST in the app, other than transfer GST to Radium and swap on Radium. But again, I can't guarantee it. We'll try to make it happen next week. But it's still during holiday. Many countries and still during on the holiday, and yeah, we'll try to. But we'll try our best. And that will be the main update in the next week. And also we will improve the app in many different ways. More clear message delivered, more more efficiency between the transfer between the vaults and the wallet, and between wallets, something like that. And we'll try to make it better. Yeah, stay tuned.
Gilgamesh, did you have anything you wanted to mention? I see you chatting away in the live questions, which is awesome while we're still going.
No questions for me.
Leaderboards. Are we going to see leaderboards before the end of the year?
I think we changed our priority a little bit. In the past, we say the leaderboard is quite important, that we want to get people to participate. But now, as we see the main issue that stops people to enjoy the game is they have to trade off Radium. That's a bit of inconvenience. So actually, we switched the priority to build build a swap. So leaderboard will be pushed back for probably a week or so, because we are actually, as Jerry said, pushing out the swap next week instead of the leaderboard.
Very cool, very cool. So hopefully we can do some more minting next week. That's awesome. I've had a great week testing. I think you guys have done super well with what we've had in game. Obviously, it's a little bit different, so people get confused. Most important, if you are confused before you spend money or burn points, just ask. There's plenty of people around in general chat, in elite chat. Don't feel afraid to ask a question. Yes, try and avoid asking the same question that's 4 lines above you. But, there's plenty of helpful team members out there. Ping a moderator if you're having problems with the game. Open a ticket. That's super awesome. The team is fairly quick. I think I opened a ticket. Might have been Christmas Day.
Yeah. Another thing, yeah, Christmas Day. Another thing is we will provide more liquidity once we integrate the swap function and make the price more stable.
Yeah, so be careful with your minting, people. It's a system that they've designed to be a long-lasting system. They don't want us getting the rare sneakers, the epics and the legendaries now. So to get those, obviously you need to mint, and you need to mint up. So you've got to mint to uncommon, you've got a 10% chance at getting a rare sneaker, and then you've got to mint towards the end. So it's an expensive habit, but it's good fun. It is definitely good fun opening that and rolling the dice and seeing whether you get that magical number. But there are heaps and heaps more questions coming through, but we have hit that hour, so let's wrap it up there. That's so cool. We'll work hard this week to change around things. And do we want to? We've had a bit of a chat about potentially doing some live events, like some live runs. Are you guys busy in the week? Do you think we can line something up like that?
Yeah, of course. I think we can start with run with Barndog, and we can test it out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll have a chat to the team and talk to you and Jerry and like I'm happy to do a segment where whether it's maybe in a Twitter space or something like that, but I'm running twice a day now myself, and
Yeah.
I've only got
I will
joggers.
I will try to hold my baby and run with you.
Have you got walkers, Jerry, or what have you got?
I have a trainer. No worries.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, that means you can go 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. But I mean, it's a game that's I love it. Like I've put one on a second phone with my partner and kids, and it's something you can take the family out and potentially earn money, but create that better lifestyle and do that thing. We've spoken about it so much over Christmas with non-crypto native people, and everyone's interested. What you can make money by running or walking and all these kinds of things. So it's certainly out there. But yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. For a Christmas week, we had just under 100. But it's, every week there's lots more questions. Please, like I said, start pinging out in the right channels. But if you do have good, meaty questions, then feel free to ping me and I'll try and write that down for the following week. Going forward next week, we might go back to the Saturday night, but we do have the events tab up the top. Feel free to check that regularly. But thank you for coming on, Gilgamesh. It was awesome to have you on stage. Yawn, I'll give you the closing words.
Yes. So next week will be mainly on product improvement, but we'll have a big month in January. We'll have lots of news coming out, and with partnership potentially with exchanges, with the investor announcements. So yeah. So again, people keep forgetting that we're actually only a 4-month-old project. So
Yeah.
a lot of things we're trying to push really hard, but again, we are limited by the time we are into this project. So yeah, we want to make the governance token available to trade on the 6 month mark, and also perfect all the in-game functions by that time. So to make a milestone. So yeah, stay tuned, and January will be big for us.
Awesome. Yeah. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you all here next week.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Okay. Have a good
Thank
day.
you,
Have a good night.
everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, Mother, for the rabbits.